Hello and welcome back to my owner build. This is our second episode of trying to build a home as owner builders in Australia for under 150,000. Today I have a very special filming location. We're currently on the vehicle ferry heading over to Russell Island. You can see out the window there, beautiful flat water. So we're just in the passage at the moment. And we have a lot to fill you in on. So since the first video, I think it's been about 2 months. It's been quite a stressful period for us. We ended up losing a lot of our work. We do electrical work, and the company that we contract for, they lost their major contract. So we really weren't expecting it, and we had to try and secure other work, which was very stressful. We were worried whether or not we'd even be able to find other work to get us through the build and everything like that. Luckily we were, so that was obviously a big relief. And we were able to continue on with our build, or at least progressing the stages towards getting the build certified. And it has taken a lot longer than I would have initially anticipated, probably 2 or 3 times as long. There are a few things I didn't really realize that we had to cover as owner builders, that obviously the certifiers helped us with, but it's just been a process of, missing documents, having to get them together as it's gone on. So what I've done and what I'm very happy to share with you in this video is a checklist we've put together for all of the steps to getting your build certified. Hopefully that can help you in getting your own build certified. I definitely think it would have helped us. And what we've done is we've just built like a basic website with a free website builder, so that you can just have somewhere to go to that website, download everything for free. So that way you've got somewhere to download that checklist from, and in the future we'll keep providing helpful documents that can help you with your own owner build. But yeah, so it's been a stressful 2 months. We've got a lot to update you on. We're almost at the stage of certification, but it has, like as I said, it's taken longer. I thought at this stage I'd be able to tell you, yep, we're certified, ready to start the build. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out that way, but that's okay. It's all part of the journey. But yeah, exciting times soon. Hopefully, we'll have a home built in this beautiful location you can see behind me. Good morning. I'm up early. It's 4 a.m. here, so I'm speaking very quietly. I've had to get up early before work to be able to fit in some planning. I've still got plenty of documents to get back to the certifier. It's just taking forever. A few things have gone wrong with the planning, in the sense of basically we got our septic system and trench designed, and we had to go to a new designer because the one that we were using wouldn't get back in touch with us about the plumbing approval, which was the next step. Anyway, long story short, we found out that the way our septic was designed originally, it can't be that way for a number of reasons. Basically, we have a sloped block and the block slopes down away from the road, which means we have to have a stormwater drain at the bottom lower part of our block, and that drain has to be 10 meters away from our septic trenching. And the reason that's a problem is we had hoped and planned that our septic trench could go at the back of the block, at the lower part of the block as well. And because we have a small block, that simply won't work now. So we're kind of waiting for the new plumbing designer we're working with to get back to us now. Maybe we can get an exemption or a relaxation, but he was saying that basically with the smaller blocks like this, especially sloped blocks, this can be tricky. So we're finding there are more and more things constantly coming up unexpected as part of this planning process. So fingers crossed we get there soon, because it's pretty tiring going back and forth. It's a big process. I know that we'll get there. But if you're doing the planning process, just be aware that if you've got a small block like ours, especially if it's sloped, you may have trouble fitting everything in if you need a septic system. Something we didn't really think of. Because the septic trenching, if you want to have 3 or 4 bedrooms, like we've opted for 3, your septic trench needs to be pretty big. I think ours is like 25 square meters or something. And there's certain rules about how far off they need to be from boundaries and everything, which also limits where you can put them. So just be aware of that. It's caught us out. But basically the plumbing designer will get back to me today or tomorrow, and hopefully we can come up with a solution. But a few setbacks getting me up at 4 a.m. for planning, but that's all right. Hopefully we get there soon. These are kind of the last stages before we order the kit, which is exciting. But anyway, let's see. I'm going to have my coffee now and do some more planning. I've also got to work on the livability design checklist for the certifier. Basically, you have to have certain things like a step-free entrance into your property. You have to have minimum like opening sizes for the doors. You can't have like a step into an access door either. You have to have like a weatherproof covering for your entrances. So there's quite a few things I need to go through a checklist just to make sure we've covered everything. It's all part of the process. It's definitely a time-consuming process, but I still think worthwhile. But hopefully we hear back from the plumbing designer soon, and fingers crossed it's a good outcome. So the designer made some calls to council and was able to get a relaxation for us so that we only have to be 3 meters away from a septic trench, which meant everything was okay. But there was about a week or so there where we were unsure if we could fit everything on our block. Could we fit the septic system, the house, all those sorts of things? Were we going to have to redo all of our earthwork designs? So we were a little bit nervous, but luckily the designer was able to come up with something for us. So that was really good. But just something to be aware of, especially if you're building on a small block on the islands, but I think anywhere that you need a septic system, is something to be aware of is, will you have enough space for the septic trench? Because you can't build anything on top of a septic trench. And so how big is your block? Ours is only 550 square meters. So if you needed to have, say, 50 or 75 square meter septic trench, you're taking up quite a lot of your block just for the septic trenching. And the septic trench has to be a certain distance off your boundary and everything like that as well. And how big that septic trench needs to be, from my understanding, is based on how many bedrooms you want in the home and also your soil type. So the permeability of the soil, which is why it's always really important, especially if you've got a small block, but I think probably important all the time, to get a permeability test done with your soil and work out, okay, how many bedrooms can you build on that block based on how big your septic trench needs to be. Because if your septic trench needs to be too big, that you wouldn't fit the house on the block with all the setbacks and everything taken into account, you may not be able to have as many bedrooms as you want. So imagine wanting to build a 4-bedroom home. You buy the block, you do your soil tests. Sorry, you can only build a 2-bedroom home. So definitely something to be aware of. Get a soil permeability test done and talk to a septic designer and work out your site plan before potentially proceeding. And you could put all of this in the contract of sale for the land. So I would definitely recommend that. That's one thing that's definitely something we weren't aware of. But he did say as well, because I asked, is there a certain land size that is generally okay where you don't have to worry about, would you fit your house on this block? Would it be 1,000 square meters? You don't really have to worry about this as much. And he said, not really, because like with our soil type, for example, if it was 1 grade worse, then our septic trench would need to be 3 times as large. And I think currently it's 20 or 25 square meters it needs to be. So you can see how your soil type can really affect the size of trench you need. And you also need a reserve area. So you need to have another area as well as your septic trenching that you could put trenching in if the first area was to fail, for example. So there's a lot to learn about septics apparently. We're learning constantly all the time about these different rules, about how much space you need and everything like that. So it's very interesting. A lot to be aware of though. Definitely a lot of things when you're building your own home, you need to be across. So just make sure you're not afraid to call around. Ask people lots of questions. Don't be afraid to sound silly. Everyone that goes through building their first home potentially have a lot of silly questions. It's normal. The other thing that we need to look into is the termite barrier, which isn't a big thing, but definitely required in Queensland. So we're going to have to install a termite barrier around the house. And other than that, basically, with this plumbing approval, the only thing we'll be left to look at is the livability requirements. So for Queensland, I think it's only not too long ago, they brought in minimum livability requirements for homes. So you have to have like a step-free entry. into the home. It means you have to have a ramp, you have to have like minimum opening sizes for your doors. You can't have like too high of a step, you know, like if you're stepping into the home, that pretty much has to be flat, all those sorts of things. So there's a lot of livability requirements. So the certifier sent me through this document listing all the requirements. It's like a checklist. I've been going through that. So livability requirements, something to be aware of. It's something that's come in reasonably recently in Queensland. So definitely be on top of that. Other than that, everything's progressing well. There's only a few things remaining for us to get this approval. I am surprised how long it's taken. This whole planning stage now is probably around 3 months from when we first started. And we still haven't got building approval. So however long you think planning is going to take, hopefully our videos, if you're watching, can help you a little bit to anticipate the problems you might come across. That's the goal, but just assume that planning will take you a lot longer than you think. You may come across things that sort of set you back a little bit, but we are still very excited to order the kit home. And that's sort of where we're at now. We're working again. We've got like the final stages of planning. And soon we'll be securing our septic system, like paying for the total system and install and everything. So yeah, it's all very exciting. So I got a very exciting email this morning, and it's a very short email, but one that I've been waiting for a long time. It's from the certifier. Hi Chris, I believe all that is outstanding now is the plumbing approval. You have no idea how happy I am to get that email. It feels like it's been such a big process to get this far with the certification. And to know it's just the plumbing approval we're waiting on now feels pretty amazing. So the plumbing approval now, it was lodged back late June. And it's still with council, but normally it's 10 business days. So being the middle of July now, we should be getting the plumbing approval any minute, which means we'll actually be certified to build. So it's super exciting. Feels like it's been a long time coming, because it has been. But yeah, very excited about that. The other thing I wanted to share with you is our total costs of getting the build certified, which I have here. So total planning costs I'm going to share with you. So that's everything, like all the documents and all the checks to get to building certification. But I'm also going to share with you our total project costs so far. Everything from purchasing the land, the conveyancer, all of the certification, everything so far. So first, let's do planning costs. So planning costs came to a total of $10,270.85. Not too bad, I guess. I don't know what I was expecting planning to cost, to be honest, but there are quite a few different things we had to get done, and quite a few things we were able to do ourselves, which I'll talk about as well. And maybe you can do them yourself as well if you feel comfortable. But $10,270 to get certified, I think is not too bad. When we add that to our total, like our other build costs to get to our total build cost, our total cost so far is $107,420.85. So it's adding up pretty quick, in that we've got everything required for the certification, like the energy efficiency rating, plumbing approval, everything like that, council fees. It really does add up. So to hit our $150,000 budget, it might be a bit tight, but we're still going to try and do that. The next thing I want to show you is what we've been working on. Okay, so the thing I was excited to share with you today that we've been working on is we have created a free website and resources you can go to download our checklist to own a building. And I've also created a whole web page detailing every step we think you should go to when doing an owner build, from purchasing the land, actually even selecting the land. But yeah, purchasing the land, choosing a certifier, and all of the certification steps. We've tried to make it really straightforward and easy. Steps 1 to 3, we actually recommend you do before even purchasing your land. So these are things to consider when looking at blocks of land. We've done our best to make this list as accurate and detailed as possible, but if those of you that are more experienced in the building game can see we've missed anything, please do let us know in the comments below. So hopefully this can be helpful to you. I know after our first video, quite a few of you said that checklist would be really handy. We did try and put the steps in the description below the video, but as we've gone through the certification process, we've just realized that actually the whole process is a lot more complicated than just putting a few points in the description. So if you're interested in that, if you're currently doing an owner build or considering doing an owner build, head over there, check out that video. And if you do like it and you like what we're doing, please do like the video and subscribe to our channel. It would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's our exciting update we had for you today. And yeah, final steps of certification. I wanted to include the run through of the website and the checklist we've created in this video, but the video is just getting way too long. So I'm going to keep this one for updating you where we're at with our build and how everything's progressing. And if you're interested in that and you want to see the steps to getting certified and owner building, you can check out the other video. And there is one final thing I would really love your help with. We're currently looking at choosing the color for our kit home. So we are looking at eucalyptus green with a white trim as our favorite, but I'm going to put the colors up here. Please let us know what you think, what your favorite color is, and if there is an overwhelming choice for one color, we might consider changing our minds.